Hey guys, I'm here on the beautiful Montpelier farm in the Western Cape in South Africa. If you're ever in the area, please come and support this farm. It's beautiful. They've got a very nice guest house and they make what is, in my opinion, pretty much the best Chenin Blanc in the region. Yeah, so the reason for this video is I saw a very interesting tweet this morning from Vays, where it starts off with three of those crying, laughing, emojis which are meant to signal, oh, you're so stupid, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, starts off with three of those, and the thread has Hayden from Uniswap in it, and Tone's tweet says, I have no idea who Hayden is or what his DeFi project is, but what 7 years in this space has taught me is that it has zero decentralization and that Hayden controls the entire project. And if he doesn't control it, whoever can read his code does control it. And then there's another, crying, laughing, you're so stupid, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard type emoji face in this tweet again. So most of you should know what Uniswap is by now, but for Tone's sake, let me repeat this, right? So Uniswap is the single biggest dApp out there. Uniswap is an automated market maker. It had more volume in September than Coinbase had. It generated more in fees on the Ethereum network, paid in Ether by the way, than the entire Bitcoin network generated in September. It's an absolute juggernaut. All of the source code is open. We're on version 2 now of Uniswap. We were on version 1 before. You can still use version 1. It's immutable. It's on the blockchain. You can read all the source code. Version 2 is immutable, it's on the blockchain, you can go read all the source code. It'll also continue to operate pretty much indefinitely. And Tone is completely unaware of this, right? So the thing is basically that Tone has he has a trading YouTube channel. I must say, respect to him, he really does know a lot about Bitcoin trading and stock trading and that kind of stuff. And and if you take him with a grain of salt, then I think there's actually a lot to be learned from him around specifically those topics. But in terms of cryptocurrency, he has reached the point of devotion to the Bitcoin maximalist religion, where he has now elevated, not only him, lots of people do this, he has now elevated ignorance to the point of a virtue, right? Bitcoin maximalists literally think that it is a good thing to know nothing about other competing projects, and they actually signal to one another how devoted they are to their tribe by saying how little they know and how little they care to know about what's going on in the outside space. I think this is really, like, this attitude has been the fatal blow to Bitcoin. It's been the fatal blow to Bitcoin. Bitcoin maximalism basically started off as this belief that lots of the value in other projects would flow back into Bitcoin in two senses. The one thing is that the financial value would flow back into Bitcoin, and the other aspect of it basically is that the features from other chains would be forked into Bitcoin. Now, the problem with this is essentially that originally, and if you go back in time quite a bit on Andreas Antonopoulos' YouTube channel, he actually also made this case very convincingly at first, that all that's going to happen is as other projects innovate, they'll just hard fork those features into Bitcoin, and then there'll be no point to the original project. This was one of the big things that they said about Ethereum at first. But the thing is, ironically, due to Bitcoin maximalism, we're now in a position where they believe that they can't change anything about Bitcoin. So you can't fork those features into Bitcoin directly anymore. So as a second prize, they started saying, no, but we'll implement all these things in layer 2. The only problem with that is, there aren't really any fully decentralized sidechains to Bitcoin. The closest one we have that actually provides, in my opinion, some pretty fair guarantees, but it's not entirely at the point where it should be, is Rootstock's. Is basically the Rootstock sidechain, which is what was originally a clone of Ethereum, and can still run the vast majority, well, to my knowledge, pretty much all Ethereum code at this stage. But that's the closest we've got, and there is essentially not no activity, but there's very, very little activity on Rootstock, right? And there's also serious concerns about how a 51% attack might actually be performed on Rootstock. And the innovations that actually would have allowed for a fully trustless rootstock have also, like, to my knowledge, either been delayed or actively blocked by some of the more zealous Bitcoin maximalists. Anyway, so I mean, here's this very cool quote from W. Edwards Deming, where he says, "It's not necessary to change since survival isn't mandatory." Now, guys, if you're still a Bitcoin maximalist, I do want you to consider that. You don't have to look at the outside world, but the outside world in crypto is shifting around you. It is now massively, massively favoring Ethereum and the stuff being built on Ethereum. The largest volume coin is USD Tether, which is currently on Ethereum. Now, I don't have such high belief in USD Tether's long-term viability, but the bottom line is there is clearly demand for it from the market. Right, so over time, what I suspect is going to happen is that something like DAI, but maybe a more decentralized, properly decentralized version with less points of failure, will eventually supplant that as the stable coin, and then pretty much almost everything is then going to start happening on whatever network can adapt itself to reality and provide utility. Because currently, unfortunately, the utility of Bitcoin has been artificially limited by its adherents to pretty much just being able to transfer Bitcoins.